Today we're going to be talking about a DB pressure used by USC in a Pac-12 championship. Now, normally they have what we know as chop, and that's kind of one of those that in this system that's kind of become famous. A lot of people do it normally out of the tight front or the mint front, depending on who you're watching. This is what Orlando calls the bench front, or just kind of his four down over front. And what we're going to get really is we're going to get a DB pressure. Now, because it's wide right here, they're going to give a switch call, and now the safety is going to be able to do this, and you're going to get a fire zone. If they were in tight, and I'll explain this here in a little bit, if they were in tight, this would be a creeper and not a five-man pressure. So this is what is called bench, switch, chop. And the switch really indicates, like I said, the safety is now going to be the one that's going instead of the corner. And you don't want to send the corner from depth in this position. Now, another little thing that was going on during this game is that USC was playing a lot of drop, what I call drop. And drop just tells that safety, hey, you're going to play down. People also refer to this as thumbs technique by the safety. And so basically he's now going to say, hey, I'm down, you are back. So this is a way to kind of get inverted coverage. Now, USC is running a single high right here, so this wouldn't necessarily be in the real sense of like your two high quarters. Now we're going to play, hey, I'm low and I'm high. Okay, but they were playing a lot of drop to kind of give the box kind of that seven-man box approach and allow this nickel to play outside with as much RPO game as that they were going with. What you're going to get in this is a five-man pressure. The D line is going to all switch a gap. This is what I call a blood path. So these two interior guys are going to run what I call blood. And blood just means they're going to go from an over to an under. Now the key here is going to be this D end over here. He's got to make sure that he occupies that tackle for that safety. The coverage is just going to be a regular fire zone 3. It's going to be 3 under, 3 over. Typical fire zone that you're going to see, because he's down, he now is going to work to the vertical hook over here, and he's going to keep an eye on this tight end. If the tight end wides, then he would just continue to widen with him in what I call a cough technique or curl over flat. You don't want to take a negative route, especially when you're sending a pressure. You want to kind of rally to that with your eyes on it. Both corners are going to take deep third. Normally what I would tell is a corner, if you're on a single receiver side, you're pretty much by yourself in man coverage. Here you're playing more of a cover 3 technique, and then obviously you're closing the post right here. Now, in a normal chop, it is a creeper, meaning that you're going to insert here and you're going to come out here. Now, the reason why it's called a creeper is because normally this guy's going to creep down and insert. It's also referred to as a replacement blitz. So you are bringing this guy, but you are replacing him. So you have really a third level defender in this example, replacing a first level defender. You're going to get the line to normally move over. Now, normally with this kind of movement, you would do this on a later down. If you wanted it to be an early down, they would normally be in a tight front. Here are the run fits for this particular five-man pressure. With the down block by the tackle, the DN knows I have to now close the C gap. So he's going to attack the hip of that tackle, especially with that tight end coming across. He knows he's got to slam the door shut on that C gap. That's going to put that inside linebacker right here. He now is going to replace him in the D gap. So that new gap that's created over here, you have the A, B, C, and now you kind of have this D gap. And so he's got to make sure that he fits over here. You notice the interior alignment both moving a gap over. They are going to pin those gaps and really hold those double teams. They got to make sure that those guys are occupied, and they're going to attempt to get penetration right there. That puts the away side backer. He's now in the A gap track in the back. This D end over here is going to be scraping across the tackle, and the goal really is for him to take that tackle with him. Now, the responsibility for the edge contain pressure, with the tight end going away and the running back on the opposite end, he's actually in charge of the running back if it were a run. If not, he's just going to, if it's pass, he just works contain, and that's kind of where we're going to go. The goal again for this D end is to take that tackle. They don't want anybody to block this guy. Okay, this running back has to get through the play fake, and then now he's going to have to search for who is inserting in this. You can see the D end attacking the hip right here. He's going to slide off. You see that there's an illusion of an open gap. he's going to fold in here, he's going to fold out here. Now you have that pressure over here, really with unblocked. And what I like about this pressure in particular is if you get a team that likes to run a lot of split zone, this is a great way to attack the tight end, especially if the tight end's off and he's always moving across the ball. There's no one that's going to be able to block that guy, especially if you, and you add that with that kind of that drop call or that thumbs call that I talked about earlier. If you can counter that with an actual blitz, that just puts a little bit more pressure on them. So now nobody's going to be able to block this guy. So if they actually were to hand this ball off, there's nobody for him. And that's why you can see his path is tight to the heel line because he's tracking the back. He sees the back is going vertical. He knows that there's an A gap right there. He's holding and fall back, and now he knows he's tracking that ball to the A gap. So what you could potentially get if they end up hitting this A gap right here is that you could get outside shoulder, inside shoulder, and then you could get that trail kind of right here in the middle, which is really nice for the defense. So with the tight end away, there's no one to block him, and this is a good look at it right now. So you can see if the ball were to be handed off right now, there's no one for him. He's aiming for the running back right now. The tackle is now on the scrape or the rip, the heavy 5 that we have right here. You have a double team. He's setting the edge. He's going to be closing that C gap. You can see him working now outside. He's reading that back, slowly working to that A gap. Now, this is the key, and this is what's really nice about any kind of screen on the edge or any kind of running back blocking. If you have a stationary blocker and you are going full speed, you should win that every single time. That's simple science. That's inertia. It's proven time and time again. So the running back who is stationary because he just took a play fake now has to stop in the pocket, find the person that he's supposed to block. Now, obviously, this is he doesn't have to find a linebacker because a linebacker isn't coming. It's that safety. That safety now has outside contain on him. That's what his job is. I have outside shoulder. I'm funneling everything inside. If he were to run it, you would have 2 guys able to fall back inside. The wall has been set here. This guy has nowhere to go. So in a pass right here, he notices, oh, you don't have the ball. So now what am I going to do? Now I'm going to step sides up the field, and now because you were stationary, I'm full speed, I'm going to win that every single time. The quarterback has nowhere to go, and so now he's got to step up in the pocket. Once he does that, the DN IDs pass, and because he was in the C gap and he attacked the hip of that tackle, that tight end is trying to dig him out. He now can what I call cop or contain pressure or contain path, and now he's going to cop back outside. And so what you are building now is a wall here and a wall here. That guy doesn't have anywhere to go. And so now with your zone pressure, oh, it looks like he's open. Hey, he's probably going to come open here, could get the ball out here, but here's the thing. These guys may be open, but that quarterback doesn't have his eyes downfield. That quarterback is now actively looking for a way to get out of there. And as he goes, you can see now the DN's right here. He's built a wall here. There's a wall coming down behind him. So right here, you have a wall built here, a wall built here. The quarterback can't get out of there. And what you end up getting is a completion of the play and a sack. Let's run through this play in slow-mo so you can get a feel for everything that we just talked about. If you are looking for, especially if you're a 4-down team or you're one of those hybrid 3-4 teams and you use a little bit of an overfront, this is a great way to attack number one and off tight end, especially one that goes other ways, and then kind of giving your guys some rules. Being able to blitz a DB in the middle of the field, I think is important because so many times a DB has to be blitzed from the hash. This isn't in the hash. Being able to give a switch call or being able to get your safety involved, especially if you run a lot of cover one and he's down near the box anyway, and he's taking that tight end man to man, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're seeing that you're going away from him all the time. Now we're going to do this, rip that DN inside, isolate that tackle, get the running back stationary, and get a big play from the secondary. So, give your dogs a bone, let them blitz every once in a while. This is a great pressure that translates at all levels, and especially against offenses that use Y-off formations.